This lesson is on the time signature of 4/4, also called common time, as well as counting quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. Follow the lesson for free and pick up a bunch of tips. We're going to be talking about the hierarchy and structure of the time signature, as well as 4 different methods for practicing rhythm exercises. For examples, I'll be using number 1 to 3 from my 60 open string rhythm exercises from my Volume 2 method book, and there's a link for that in the description. So first, let's just talk about 4/4 time itself, what it means. So the top number 4 says 4 beats per measure, so 4 beats per bar. The bottom number represents the value of the beat, and a 4 stands for a quarter note. So there are 4 quarter notes per bar. When you count the rhythm, yes, you can count to 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but there's a hierarchy to the beat as well. This hierarchy is something that we feel and sometimes play, but music is different. Sometimes accents occur on different beats than the hierarchy. So when we're talking about the hierarchy, we're talking about the structure of the time signature. And the structure of 4/4 time is strong, weak, medium strong, weak. Strong, weak, medium strong, weak. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first beat of every measure is the strong beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. That first beat is something we aim for. It gives direction and structure to the time signature. The third beat is medium strong. It's kind of like an in-between one. So this is something that you definitely want to feel in your body. So when you're tapping or you're counting or playing, you can emphasize the strong and medium strong beats just to make sure that the structure of the time signature and the hierarchy is there. It's not something you'll necessarily use in every piece because sometimes pieces accent off beats and do all sorts of things. Music can be very different than the structure of the beat. But this structure always exists behind the scenes, either feeling it through your body or just as a structural element in the way that the written music is organized. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Strong, weak, medium strong, weak. Strong, weak, medium strong, weak. And when you see a C in the time signature, that's common time, it means exactly the same thing. It implies 4/4 time. So we'll be counting some quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. But we're going to go over 4 different ways to practice them. The first way would be to clap and sing. This doesn't involve the guitar. It's something that you can do at any time. The second way is to tap your foot and play the rhythm. That ensures that you're going to be feeling the beat in your body, but executing the rhythms with your fingers. You're going to count and play, which is kind of like a mental exercise to make sure that you're playing the notes at the right times. And also you can use a metronome and play. So all of these different ways to practice the same rhythms. And I know that you'll be very tempted to just do like the tapping and playing and think that, oh, if I can do it, that's good enough to just do one of the methods. But I highly recommend you do all 4 methods of practicing the exercises, because what you're trying to do is to build a super strong foundation for your rhythm. It goes beyond just being able to do these simple rhythms, these simple exercises. It goes way beyond that, and it goes deep into your mind and your body and how you feel and absorb the rhythms. When the exercises get much more complicated, your body wants to feel the simplicity that you'll feel in these easy exercises. You'll be feeling the internal pulse and the beat structure while executing complicated rhythms on the instrument. But if you don't have a strong foundation, those more difficult rhythms will be really hard to play. And people often mistake the practicing of rhythm to be just something that you need to understand, but it's not necessarily just that. You must be able to feel the structure of the beat and then play some rhythms and embed that into your muscle memory and your body. If you're just trying to say like, oh, this rhythm is this, I play it like this, done, and then you push it out of the way, you may learn how to play the rhythms and you may be able to play your music, but that doesn't mean that you have a really strong internal foundation for what that means. So I highly recommend doing all 4 ways so that you build up that foundation. One extra thing I'll mention is that you can apply all of these different methods of practicing rhythms to your pieces. You don't have to use exercises or my book necessarily. You can just apply it to easy pieces. If you apply it to difficult pieces, it'll be very hard to do. But if you apply it to very easy pieces, then you can use your repertoire and practice the rhythm in these ways. So feel free to even use it with my Volume 1 free method book and just strengthen your rhythm with all of those pieces in the Volume 1 book. You can do this with anything. So just a quick review of the different rhythms involved in this time signature. So we're using quarter notes, half notes, and whole notes. So a quarter note in this time signature equals 1 beat. So if we played continuous quarter notes, it would just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it takes up that entire amount of time up to the next beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Half notes in this time signature equal 2 beats. So they sustain for all of the first beat and all of the second beat, all the way up to the beginning of the third beat, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So each half note takes up all of the first beat and all of the second beat. Never shortchange it. 1, 2, and stop it early. It must reach all the way up to the following beat. If I was tapping it, la. See, I stopped singing on that third beat because it must sustain all the way through that space. La. Or if I did continuous half notes, la, 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 la. So it sustains all the way through. And a whole note in this time signature equals 4 beats. So it sustains all the way through the 4 beats. La. Notice that I clapped 5 times because I wanted to make sure that I sustained all the way to the end of the 4th beat. Never do this. La. That sounded like I ended my singing on the 4th beat rather than letting it sustain to the end of the 4th beat. So when we're thinking in terms of rhythms, we're thinking about taking up that entire block of space, that entire beat. La. So only on the completion of the next beat do you stop the sustain of the note. So it equals 4 full beats. You don't have to overthink it too much at first, but later on you want to be very precise. And that's why even practicing these beginner exercises is so important, because you want to make sure that your foundation of rhythm is correct and secure and also natural feeling. Another thing to consider is that when you're playing the rhythms, make sure your hand doesn't go back on the string too early. If you're playing a whole note, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, that wouldn't be a whole note. You stopped the sound by putting your finger back on the string. I stopped it on the 4th beat instead of letting it ring to the end of the 4th beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, cut. So you can't stop it on the 4th beat and say that's 4 beats. It must sustain through the 4th beat up to the next beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, cut. So you want to be careful that you're listening carefully with your ears and that your finger isn't just going back on the string arbitrarily, but that you are indeed sustaining the full value of that whole note or half note or quarter note. So let's do exercise number 1. And first we're going to clap and sing it. So we're going to be just clapping the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, but we're going to be singing the rhythms. Ta, 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 ta. Make sure that you sing for the full sustain of the note. So when you sing a half note, ta, that you sing for the full 2 beats. When I say the full 2 beats, not this, ta, stopping right on the second beat, it would mean stopping at the beginning of the 3rd beat, right? Ta. You actually must sustain from the beginning of that 2nd beat to the 3rd beat so that you get the full value of the note. So here's number 1. I'll count in 1 bar for nothing, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'll start clapping and singing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. So the second method would be to tap your foot and play. I know you can't see my foot right now, so I'll also nod my head, but tapping your foot and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. The third method would be to count and play. So you're just going to count out loud while playing the rhythms. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut. Make sure you're cutting when you arrive on the next beat after 4. You must play through the entire beat of 4. Okay, and then the last way is to turn the metronome on and play. So I have the metronome set at 80 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. To tell you the truth, during every single one of those methods, I tapped my foot. While I count, I tap my foot. While I play with the metronome, I tap my foot. I'm just always feeling the beat. And I think that's a really important factor. So you must always be feeling the beat. So feel free to do that. But practicing in those various different ways can be really helpful. So let's do number 2. This one's written as common time, but it's the same as 4/4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. Cut. Tap and play. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut. And then the metronome. 1, 2, 3, 4. really useful with the metronome. You can be very precise about when you cut the sound. It also keeps your rhythm nice and even. So number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta 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 ta. Tapping and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. Counting and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Metronome and playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I hope you found that useful and that you'll practice all the 4 ways of doing these rhythms, or whatever rhythm you have in your pieces. Regardless if you're using my book or someone else's book or just a beginner method book, you can practice playing your pieces with all of these different methods. And of course, easier pieces will be easier to do this with if you're not used to it. If you try to practice something that's very challenging and do all 4 ways, you're going to find it very difficult. So I'd recommend building a strong foundation with very easy material. You can even go back to my Volume 1 method book, which is free, and incorporate these ideas and strengthen up your rhythm.